Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. You know, I've been following General Hospital for decades now, and every time I think I've seen it all, they come up with something new that gets me smiling and shaking my head at the same time. The latest news about Scout Kane really caught my attention. They're recasting the role with a talented one, 6-year-old actress named Kayden Brenna Tokarski. That's right, little Scout is all grown up overnight. They're replacing Kayden Brenna, who played the character so sweetly back in 2022. According to the reports, we should start seeing this new older version of Scout on our screens around July 2026. I tell you, this is classic soap opera storytelling. They call it sore-ass soap opera rapid aging syndrome, and they've done it many times over the years. One day the kid is running around playing with toys, and the next thing you know, she's a teenager ready to cause all kinds of trouble. I remember when Scout was just a little girl, and now they're fast-forwarding her life. It makes me think about how fast time really flies, even in Port Charles. What excites me most is how this change is going to shake things up, especially for her father, Drew Kane, played by Cameron Matheson. That poor man is currently dealing with some serious situation. Sounds like he's being held captive or something dramatic like that. Once he finally gets free and comes back home, he's going to have a whole new set of problems on his hands. Raising a teenage daughter is never easy, even in real life. I can already imagine the headaches coming his way, boys calling the house, Scout wanting more freedom, maybe some rebellious moments. Drew has been through so much already. Now he'll have to learn how to be a dad to a headstrong young lady. That should make for some really interesting scenes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of energy Kayden Brenna Tokarski brings to the role. She's not some total newcomer. This girl has been acting since she was 10 years old. She played the young version of Julia Roberts' character in that Starz series called Gaslit, and she's appeared in several Lifetime movies like My Professor's Deadly Secret and Killer in the Woods. She even had a part in a science fiction film called Roswell Delirium. That tells me she's got some real experience and talent for her age. I think she'll bring a fresh, believable spark to Scout that the audience is going to connect with. You know, one of the things I love most about General Hospital is how they let these characters grow and change. It reminds me of real life kids don't stay little forever. They grow up, they face new challenges, and sometimes they turn their parents' worlds upside down. I have a feeling this new Scout is going to bring a lot of heart, drama, and maybe even some sweet father-daughter moments mixed with plenty of conflict. I'm genuinely curious to see how Drew handles it all when he returns. Will he be the protective dad? Will Scout push back? How will the rest of the family react to this older version of her? These are the kinds of stories that keep me coming back to the show year after year. All in all, I think this is a smart move by the producers. Bringing in a talented young actress like Kayden feels exciting and full of possibilities. July can't come soon enough. I'll definitely be sitting in my favorite chair with a cup of coffee, ready to watch how this new chapter unfolds for the Kane family. You know, the more I learn about this young actress, Kayden Brenna Tokarski, the more I like what I see. She's not just sitting around waiting for her big break. This girl has been working hard. She recently finished filming a movie called Quads and the Kicker, and she's also going to appear in an upcoming film called Curse of Vander, plus its sequel that's already in the works. Those projects are expected to be released pretty soon. I think it's wonderful when a young person stays busy and keeps learning their craft. It shows she has real dedication, and that kind of attitude usually makes for a strong performer on screen. What really warmed my heart was hearing how the fans got their first nice look at her. On Monday, June 1st, General Hospital shared a fun video on Instagram. The whole cast and crew came together to celebrate a huge milestone. They had just filmed the 16,000th episode of the show. Can you imagine that? 16,000 episodes. That's a lot of history right there. In the video, everyone was laughing, hugging, and clearly having a wonderful time. And right there in the middle of all the excitement was Kayden, smiling brightly and fitting in like she belonged. She looked happy and comfortable with her new coworkers. It was such a joyful moment, and it made me smile watching it. You could feel the good energy coming through the screen. Because most of us longtime viewers had never seen her before, that video really got people talking. Everyone started wondering, who is this pretty young girl and what character is she going to play? And there was a lot of buzzing and guessing going around on social media. Some folks were curious, some were excited, and a few were trying to figure out how she might fit into the story. It created quite a stir, which is natural when someone new joins a show that so many of us have followed for years. But now the news is official. She's stepping into the shoes of Scout Kane, and I think that has made a lot of fans even more eager to see what happens next. I have to say, it feels good knowing they chose someone who already has some solid experience under her belt. She's not walking in completely green, and that should help her settle into the role more naturally. I'm really curious to see what kind of personality she brings to Scout. Will she make her sweet and caring like before, or will this older version have a little more fire and independence? Either way, I believe she's going to add fresh life to the Kane family story. And speaking of that, I keep thinking about poor Drew. Once he gets himself out of that terrible situation he's stuck in right now, he's going to come home to a completely different daughter. Instead of the little girl he remembers, he'll find a smart, growing teenager with her own thoughts and feelings. That's going to make for some real heartfelt moments, maybe some arguments, some tender father-daughter talks, and plenty of drama. That's what I love about this show. It reminds me so much of real life, where kids grow up faster than we expect and suddenly our roles as parents change. All in all, I have a good feeling about Kayden joining General Hospital. She seems like a bright, talented, and down-to-earth young lady. I'm looking forward to watching her grow into the character and become part of the Port Charles family. These kinds of changes keep the show feeling alive and interesting after all these years. July is coming up quick, and I'll be right here, ready to see how this new chapter unfolds. It should be a lot of fun. You know, my heart goes out to that poor little Scout. She's already been through so much these past few years. Losing her mama, Sam McCall, that was a real tough blow for such a young girl. Then being kept away from her Quartermain family and her brothers, Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri. It's just not right for a child to carry that kind of sadness on her shoulders. And things haven't gotten any easier for her. Her daddy, Drew, got shot twice in the back, then suffered what they called a stroke, and now he's stuck in a wheelchair. I can't imagine how confusing and scary that must feel for Scout. She's had one heartbreak after another, and it makes me worry about her. I have a feeling this new, older Scout might start acting out a bit. After everything she's been through, it wouldn't surprise me if she rebels some against all that pain. Teenagers do that sometimes when life gets too heavy. I wonder if she's going to give her poor father Drew a run for his money once he comes home. Or maybe even give her grandma Alexis Davis a few headaches too. Lord knows Alexis has been through enough herself. Still, I'm hoping that in the middle of all this drama, we'll see some real healing for that family. Maybe Scout and Drew will find their way back to each other and build something stronger. That's what I love about General Hospital. They show us that even after the hardest times, there's always a chance for love, forgiveness, and new beginnings. I'll be watching closely to see how this story plays out. It feels real, it feels emotional, and that's why I keep coming back.